The big idea of today's lesson is that 1 million people died from starvation or from other famine-related diseases as a result of the Irish potato famine. A famine is an extreme scarcity of food. It occurs because of war, inflation, or crop failure. The Irish potato famine that occurred in Ireland occurred because of crop failure. The essential questions are: what caused the Irish potato famine? And how did the Irish potato famine impact society in Ireland? The aim of the lesson: to describe the causes and effects of the Irish potato famine. Let's set the stage. The potato crossed the Atlantic Ocean from Peru in South America to Europe through the Columbian Exchange. The potato fed Europe's rapidly growing populations that developed during the Industrial Revolution. By the early 1840s, potato was the main source of food of Ireland's rural poor. In 1845, a bacteria arrived accidentally from North America through trade, and a blight or fungus destroyed the potato crop in Ireland. The 1845 crop failure was followed by more devastating failures in 1846 to 1849. Each year's potato crop was almost completely ruined by the blight. The potato, a staple food source. In the early 19th century, Ireland's farmers struggled both to provide for themselves and to supply the British market with crops. Many farmers had long existed at the subsistence level, which means just growing enough crops to feed your family. Given the small size of their farms and the various hardships that the land presented for farming in some regions. Other crops such as wheat and oats were not affected by the blight. However, these crops were not available to the Irish for food. Under British rule, most of the Irish farmland was used to grow crops that were exported or sent outside the country for sale. Little help from the British government. The British government's efforts to relieve the famine were limited. Charles Trevelyan was in charge of Irish relief efforts during the famine. He believed in minimal intervention and attempted to encourage the Irish to be more self-reliant. He wrote, "Besides, the greatest improvement of all which could take place in Ireland would be to teach the other people to depend upon themselves for developing the resources of the country, instead of relying on the assistance of the government on every occasion." So there was little help from the British government during the famine. As a result of the famine, there was immigration from Ireland. One of the most obvious effects of the famine was immigration. Although the famine itself probably resulted in about 1 million deaths, immigration itself caused the population to drop further by 3 million. Here's a chart titled Population Fall in Ireland 1841 to 1851. So this is a 10-year map that will show in which areas in Ireland had a significant drop in population. As you can see, the very dark red or the maroon is showing a drop of over 30%, as well as the color red is showing a drop from 20 to 30%. And this led to a decrease in the population, as the previous slide said, of about 3 million people. The next chart is showing us the destination of overseas immigrants. So it's showing us where the people that were living in Ireland, well, where did they go? Where did the 3 million people go? And you can see that they went to the United States, Australia, and Canada. The results of the Great Famine. The Irish language began to die out. Many of those who died or emigrated were from the western parts of Ireland and had spoken Irish. Some people were very angry that the English government had not done more to prevent the famine. This caused a lot of anger against Britain, which lasted for a long time. A group called the Young Ireland Party, or Young Irelanders, wanted Ireland to have its own government. This would be an example of a nationalist movement for independence. Today, there are many memorials in Ireland to the people who immigrated and died during the famine. What were the causes and effects of the Irish potato famine? Causes: potato crop failure by a fungus or blight, limited government response or not enough help from the English government, the exporting of available crops grown in Ireland that could have been used as food to feed the people of Ireland, but was exported or sent out of the country for sale by the British government. Effects: 1 million people died, mass migration from Ireland, Ireland's population decreased, and the Ireland independence movement begins. This is the end of the lesson. Please look for the assignment that goes along with this lesson.